Well, it is my great pleasure to be joined on the podcast this week. A repeat guest in one Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Jesse, you're the lineal and the WBC junior bantamweight world champion. And I'll just let our listeners know what you've got coming up. You're going to be in a unification fight with Phumelele Cafu, the WBO champion, looking to unify those titles at 115 pounds. It'll headline the Matchroom Boxing card on DAZN. It'll take place on July 19th in your home state at the Ford Center in Frisco, Texas. So welcome to the show. I thank you very much for doing this.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime, man. I know how much you've wanted because you've spoken so much about wanting a unification fight in this weight class. You were able to do it in the flyweight division. But before I ask you about this fight, I just wanted to reflect a little bit on your big fight last year. You had two fights, but the big one, in an excellent year, was a rather impressive destruction, if I must say so, against a future Hall of Famer and Juan Francisco Estrada, who was the champion at that time. You went and got back the WBC title that you had vacated to drop down to the flyweight division, and then came back up to take it from him as well as his lineal title. And, it was a heck of a fight. You knocked him out, but he did have the right to a rematch. And in the ring, he said he would probably go for it. Ultimately, he decided against it. He came back in his first fight since that loss just recently. He moved up to bantamweight. I just wondered, were you at all surprised he didn't press for the rematch, knowing the warrior that he is? Were you disappointed he didn't go for the rematch?
I was surprised, actually. I feel like it was a huge shock to me. I was already in training camp for the fight itself. I think it was still in the works, but mentally, physically, I was already prepared for another fight against him. And then about the second week into training camp is when I found out that he had actually put out of it. So it did shock me in a way, just because I know he's a warrior. I feel like he would have wanted to get revenge against me, but he went his other way and decided to move up. But it's really out of my control, his career.
Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned, one of the goals you had talked about wanting to do was have a fight for another one of the titles. You had done it at flyweight, like I said, and so now you're going to have the fight with Cafu. But I'm always curious about when guys go in to the efforts to get the unification. I sort of wonder, is it a particular opponent that they're interested in? Because there's obviously multiple belts, or is it just whoever's got a title? And at the time where this fight was being organized by Matchroom, you had Cafu, who had won the WBO title. You had, I guess the more well-known fighter, Fernando Martinez, who had the IBF title, or no, the WBA title, I guess.
Yeah, WBA.
And the IBF title was vacant, and they had a title fight getting ready to go for that. Point here is that if you wanted a unification, it was either fight Martinez or fight Cafu, whoever you could make a deal with. And so was it that you wanted him, or that you just didn't care and you wanted a belt?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't care. But before the Cafu fight presented itself, we were already in the works with Martinez for a unification fight against him. And then just one random day that fell through, and I was stuck just waiting for a fight in itself. And then Cafu presented itself, and they started working on that, able to get it done. So now we're here, 2 weeks out from the fight, and I'm ready to go.
So he's not the most well-known guy, obviously. He's 11-0 with 3 draws. He's only fought in South Africa other than when he won this title, when he fought over in Japan. So he doesn't have a big name, even if you look at the record of the opponents he fought in his home country, because in no way would I suggest that there's not good fighters from South Africa. There's plenty of them, but they're not guys that anybody would really recognize. And so I know you're motivated to have another title, but what do you think about him just as a fighter, if you've looked at any of the videos of him or what you've seen? Because he's not very experienced, and he hasn't, I've saw a couple videos, hasn't shown like incredible dynamics the way you've done or some of the other opponents that you have faced.
Honestly, coming into this fight, I don't know much about him. I know he's coming off of that win against Tanaka. That was a huge upset, just considering that it was over there in Japan, in his home country. So I know mentally he's coming off of that win, very motivated to come to Frisco and do the same against me. I know he's training 100% to give me a great fight, but I feel like right now I'm unbeatable.
Well, he got that win, as you mentioned, against Tanaka. It was by a split decision, but he did so in the other man's, home area. So, and I saw the fight. It was a legitimate win. It was close. But a lot of people, like I said, they don't know him, and they figure here's, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, multiple division champion, fought a lot of top fighters, been looking spectacular in many of those fights. And they figure that you're just going to roll right through a guy that, A, they never heard of, and B, if they check him out, hasn't really had any big wins other than the Tanaka win. How do you keep yourself from being overconfident in a fight where a lot of people just figure, you're going to just walk through the guy?
I just know that he has a lot of power. He has 11 wins. 8 of those have come by knockout. So that says a lot about how hard he punches. So just having that in the back of my mind, as well as just I know there's bigger opportunities after this fight if I do get past Cafu. So just those two combined keeps me level headed, down to earth, and just keep training the way I have been since the beginning of my career.
One thing that is interesting to me about this, the fight date, I guess, July 19th. It's a huge day for boxing because besides your fight in a unification fight, you also have earlier in the day, you have the rematch between Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois. They'll meet to unify the titles for the undisputed heavyweight championship. That's obviously a huge deal. And around the same time that your fight is going to be taking place, that your card is going on in Texas, in Las Vegas, you'll have the legendary Manny Pacquiao coming out of retirement after 4 years to take on Mario Barrios to fight for the WBC's welterweight title with a pretty loaded undercard. Normally, if Bam Rodriguez is going to be in a unification fight, you're going to get all the attention that week. You're going to be the man that all the boxing fans and media are focused on.
Yeah.
This time, with all due respect, it's probably not going to be the case because your opponent's not the most known guy.
Yeah.
And it's the heavyweight title and it's Manny Pacquiao. So
Yeah.
are you at all disappointed that you face that type of stiff competition that normally everyone would be focused on your event? And probably because of the loaded schedule with lots of good fights, that won't be the case this year. And this coming up.
Yeah, I actually don't mind it. I'm actually happy just to be a part of it, to headline my own card on the same day as those fights. Like you said, Usyk, my longtime friend Mario Barrios fighting Manny Pacquiao. So to share, yeah, I'm getting a call. Sorry.
No problem. The technological age, Jesse Bam Rodriguez. What are you going to do? Happens to the best of us.
All right. But yeah, I'll just restart that. Like I said, I'm just happy to be a part of the night, highlighting my own card July 19th with these great fighters, Usyk, my longtime friend Mario Barrios, to share a boxing night with them. Just it's an honor at the end of the day. Like you said, I won't be getting too much attention just because of the names, but I'm just happy to be in the ring myself after a long layoff, 8 months. I'm just happy to get back in there and perform.
One of the things I always wonder also is, you're making good money for these fights. You're getting the fights you want in terms of unification fights. You're building your name up continuously because you're still a very young fighter, relatively speaking. So I just wonder, what is the main motivation? Is it the titles? Is it the money? Is it just a specific name? Is there something else? Like, what is it that when you get out of bed to go do that hard work to prepare, that's first and foremost on your mind as the reason of why you're doing it?
Yeah, honestly, my dream when I started professional boxing was to become world champion, and I already accomplished that back in 2022. So now being a father, knowing I have a daughter and a son on the way, it's just that's honestly my motivation to just be able to win these fights, get bigger paydays, be able to provide for them in the long term, long run. That itself right there is all the motivation I ever needed.
So if everything works out for you in this fight with Cafu, there are the other champions. You'll have two of the titles if you're the winner. There is still Martinez out there. The IBF title was filled in a recent fight where Willibaldo Garcia won that vacant title. I've talked to the Willibaldo Garcia team. They say he's going to be in Frisco to be ringside to check you out. And he wants to fight you if you win. So what is your game plan? Like, what would you want most? Is it still Martinez because you mentioned him before? Is it Willibaldo, who's would probably make a pretty big fight also for you, given that he's Mexican and you can fight in front of a big Hispanic crowd?
Yeah.
Or have you not thought about it?
Honestly, ideally, I would like the Martinez fight. I haven't put too much thought behind what's going to happen after this fight. I'm just 100% focused on Cafu. So everything plays out well, we'll talk about it after that.
Well, one thing I know that you, and I'm not talking about for the next fight, but every fighter dreams about what's in the long run. I don't know if you remember this, but when we were out in Los Angeles last summer in August at the Terrence Crawford Israel Madrimov fight, we sat at that table in the hotel that was the fight hotel in that little lounge there, and we were just sort of talking about this and that, and you were telling me that your dream would be eventually a huge mega fight against Naoya Inoue, who is the 122-pound undisputed champion. He's still in that weight class. You'd obviously have to move up a couple of divisions over the course of however long. Is that still what you harbor as like the big one for Jesse Rodriguez?
Yeah, for sure. In a way, he's still dominating at the top of his game right now. So if we ever meet up in a fight. I would love that fight to happen in Japan, and I feel like that would be a huge fight for all the boxing. Honestly, I would say that that's my dream fight right now.
And so that means obviously by saying that you would be willing to at some point fight or either skip over the bantamweight division or maybe fight at bantamweight then go right to 122. Well, how do you think that your frame and your size and all the things that go into it would translate to the heavier weight class, two weight classes in this case?
Honestly, if the fight presented itself right now, I would have, you know, I wouldn't be able to say no to that opportunity. So if it ever presents itself from now until whatever, if it becomes official, I have no problem taking that fight.
Well, that would obviously be a big one. But both you guys have a lot to do between now and then because you have this important fight with Cafu coming up. He's got his fight scheduled. He's got two fights, I think, coming up this year. One in September, another one in Saudi Arabia at the end of the year. And who knows after that? I think they still look to do a Nakatani fight. But that would be, I think, a dream fight for boxing fans.
Yes, sir.
Is there any other one out there that you have your eye on in the future?
Honestly, no. I'm just 100% focused on what's going on right now, and that's Cafu.
Do you know how to say his first name? Because it's tough.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it.
I believe it's Phumelele.
All right, all right.
So I'm here to help.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Jesse, thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And I wish you nothing but success in your fight.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You bet.